Okay, so I'm sure by now you all know what's going on with voting in November. We should vote. The act of voting itself, whether you vote in person or not, has become highly politicized. My take is everybody should vote. You have the opportunity to participate in deciding who's going to lead our country. I'm not just talking about Trump versus Biden. I'm talking about the local level. I'm talking about the state level. And you should exercise that right and you should have a say. So people have written to me and they've said, David, with all of this confusion about absentee versus vote by mail, please explain how to vote by mail. So first of all, what we're talking about for November is expanded absentee ballot access, or you might call it in some states, universal absentee voting. In states that have decided to send ballots out, they go only to registered voters. They don't go to undocumented immigrants. They don't go to children. Do not fall for those talking points. Each state has its own rules, so you have to know the rules of your state or commonwealth. So first of all, figure out the rules in your state. Go to the NASS website page called Absentee and Early Voting. We're linking to that page in the description to the YouTube clip for this story. You put in your state. For example, when I put in Massachusetts, it takes me to the Massachusetts Secretary of the Commonwealth page with information on how to get an absentee ballot. Now, Massachusetts sent out absentee ballot applications automatically. I receive the application. If I plan to vote by mail, which I do, I fill it out, I send it back in, and then at some point after the September 1st primary, once we know exactly who will be on the ballot in November, I will get the actual absentee ballot, which is where I vote. Now, this is not the situation in every state. If you look at the Brookings map rating states on vote by mail, you will see that states range in ratings from A to F. Right now, Alabama is the only state rated F on absentee voting, while a bunch of states get an A, including the three West Coast states, Utah and Colorado, Hawaii, and Washington, D.C., and then a bunch of states get a B. And this relates to the ease with which you can access an absentee ballot in your particular state. Now, I wish I could tell you this is the one way to do this, but each state runs things differently. So you actually do need to go and look at your state's voting website. Now, a few things to understand. And again, your state's website will tell you this. If you're in the Commonwealth of Virginia or the state of Florida or even the state of Florida, as Trump says, every state and Commonwealth has a website that will explain this to you. In some states, every registered voter will get a ballot automatically. Perfect. Just confirm you're registered. You can do that on the USA.gov page. Confirm you're registered to vote. We're also linking to that. If you're registered and you're in a state that's sending out ballots to every registered voter, beautiful. In other states, every registered voter will be sent an application for a ballot, which you have to fill out and send in order to request the actual ballot be sent to you. That's what I did in Massachusetts, for example. In some states, you have to choose to go and apply for an absentee ballot. Now, typically, I think there are some states where it can be done online. In other states, you have to send some physical piece of mail to request the absentee ballot. In some states, everybody's allowed an absentee ballot. In other states, you have to give a valid reason for why you want to vote absentee. And depending on your state, saying I'm afraid of catching coronavirus is considered a valid reason. Now, in other states, there's still a fight going on about that. So you would have to look at the reasons that are considered valid reasons for requesting an absentee ballot in your state and match it to your situation. I'm not suggesting anybody lie, but examine what the valid reasons are and determine whether any of them match your circumstances. It's tragic that this is what's going on, but all we can do, given that voting in some states starts in 4.5 weeks, is to go to your state's website. If you have to request something, do it now and stay on top of this. This really isn't difficult. And I understand when you hear, well, am I getting a ballot or am I getting an application? Do I have to print the application or can I fill it out online? I get it. We have 50 different systems in the United States. All of the links you need are in the description to this YouTube video clip. If anybody you know is at all confused about how to vote by mail, send them this clip. We did a story on the bonus show where we discussed that a whole bunch of people, including in particular young people, aren't sure how to vote by mail, how to request an absentee ballot, or whether they will get one automatically. That's exactly the confusion we are trying to resolve here. Figure out what's going on in your state using the links provided in the description for this YouTube clip. It is not difficult. You have a right to vote. In most states now, you have a right to vote absentee if you go through the right process. Take advantage of things that are offered to you because the stakes, quite frankly, could not be higher. If you love feeding your intellectual curiosity, but you're always struggling to find the time, check out one of my all-time favorite apps called Blinkist. Blinkist lets you consume an entire book on your way home from work. They take thousands of popular nonfiction books, condense each one into text or audio that you can get through in just 15 minutes, and you get all of the important core ideas and information from that book. It's perfect if you don't have enough time to do all the reading you want to do, or if you just want to sample a book before you buy the entire thing. I recently read A Brief History of Time, of course, by the great Stephen Hawking. This is a book that I have been aware of for so long, and other things got in the way, and it was fantastic to check it out on Blinkist. Blinkist has books on politics, philosophy, science. They have 27 different nonfiction categories, and a subscription is only about $8 a month, and you get the entire library. But you can try it totally free and get 25% off a subscription when you go to Blinkist.com/Pakman. I've put the link right underneath this video.